Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Let me direct this question to General Lengyel. General, you know this because we've had numerous conversations, but the A-Team provides world-class maintenance and repair for Army tanks and engines and transmissions. As you know, they provide high-quality work that has significantly contributed to the increased readiness of the Army National Guard, Armored Brigade combat teams in 12 states, and they are the engine repair team of choice for several key foreign military partners. We discussed last year in this same hearing, and though you conveyed your support for A-Team, you instructed me to speak to General Perna, the commanding general of the U.S. Army Materiel Command, on the topic of special repair authority for A-Team to continue doing its work. I reached out to General Perna at your suggestion in June. We had a conversation, and he provided his formal position and recommendations that would follow the A-Team to continue work on previously overhauled National Guard engines and existing FMS customers at the discretion of the NGB. Then later in October, he and I met, and he reiterated that the A-Team does not need a special repair authority to conduct their work for Army, Guard, or foreign partners. We also learned that Army regulations removed that requirement for this authority. General Lengyel, when we spoke a few weeks ago, you mentioned things were running smoothly with the A-Team and you remained supportive of their efforts. However, since that meeting, I learned that the A-Team again faces hurdles that threaten their ability to carry out their maintenance work for the Army Guard, and particularly their foreign partners that are explicitly seeking A-Team's support for their tanks. The program again seems to be in jeopardy because of what seems to me to be a bureaucratic, machination that no single entity takes responsibility for the mission. You have a 4-star who's sending work to A-Team, believing that they have what they need to do to conduct the work, and yet another 4-star headquarters that disagrees, and your staff maintains that A-Team can't do the work. These different opinions and interpretations are putting the program at risk and threaten to derail contractual obligations that we have with our foreign partners. I worry that this will continue to unravel unless it's resolved. And so, General Lengyel, General Perna does not believe A-Team needs a special repair authority to continue conducting their work, and he also believes that their continued work with foreign partners is at your discretion. Can you please explain to me how you are going to reconcile and resolve the situation so that A-Team can continue to enhance the readiness of the Army Guard and continue to do its work for our foreign partners?
Senator, yes, sir, and I do need to tell you that when I came and saw you last week, I wasn't aware of what my staff perceives as two issues. One is the Special Repair Authority, and two is the utilization of Title 32 technicians to perform duty on non-National Guard and non-DOD equipment. Those are two problems that I only became aware of as a large contract to do international work came to the A-Team. They didn't have an appropriate warrant to execute the contract, so they came to the National Guard Bureau to get that warrant. And as my staff looked into it, they identified those two specific problems: Special Repair Authority and Title 32 technician issues with respect to doing FMS kind of work, foreign military sales kind of work. I will promise you that myself, within the next week, we'll find out. I will talk to General Perna myself. I don't know what the disconnect is. I hope we don't need Special Repair Authority. I agree that the A-Team provides good work, maintains a higher state of readiness for the Army, and if he allows us to continue to do that work, I am happy to continue to do that work from the National Guard. The Title 32 issue is another issue with respect to how we use our Title 32 technicians, and that requires, again, some work on my part to determine the way ahead here.
So, General Perna, assuming that I'm telling you his accurate position and you determine that to be the case, then that would resolve one of the two issues?
It would.
And then we still need to work through the title issue?
Yes, sir.
And what do you foresee in that regard?
Well, I see. I have to find out how are we doing. Why can we not do Title 32 technicians to do FMS? I do know that on the air side, we have some Title 32 technicians that train foreign military sales cases with respect to F-16 training pilots, but training is a different category than regular and routine maintenance. So I can only promise you, Senator, that I will look into this and I'll come to your office and tell you what I find out.
Thank you, General Lengyel. I look forward to that. It may be our 5th meeting on this topic, and look forward to its resolution.
Yes, sir.
In a favorable way toward the A team. Let me ask a broader question. I know that you all have deep respect and gratitude for families and employers. You've stated before that you recruit individuals but retain families. I know that there's a lot of discussion lately about the role the reserve component with Guard and reservists deploying so frequently and participating significantly more training days per year. Just the current operations tempo is such that we all have to have concern over sustainability of this whole reserve force. And my question is a general one. What request do you have of us as members of Congress to help us accomplish this, General Lucky?
So, yes, Senator, if I may, just to sort of just reiterate, I think a point I touched upon in my opening statement. I think the most helpful thing that the senior leadership of the United States could do for, in my opinion, all of the reserve components and Guard of all the armed forces is continue to support us at the strategic level, messaging with, as I said, I think in my opening remarks, your voice to your constituents and your jurisdictions and your states and cities and towns with the influencers that are out there across America, how critical the sustained support of employers, whether they're from the private sector or other aspects of the public sector, academia, continued support of employers is for us to share the best talent in America with the Armed Forces of the United States and the reserve components thereof. And to make sure they understand that they are part of a strategic partnership that is ultimately underpinning the national security fabric of the United States. As it's been said in this room, and it's been said many times in this place, that you have a more engaged, operationally efficacious reserve force, whether Guard or Reserve, at any time in the history of the United States of America, in my opinion. And the way we sustain that, because I share your concern, Senator, the way we sustain that level of effort and readiness ultimately is going to hinge on the ability of employers to understand they are partnering with us to share this talent with America and in respect to making sure we ensure the national security of the United States. So
General,
that's the key.
I take from your answer that you believe the place to focus our attention is employers and their continued commitment to employing Guard and reservists.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And I won't have time to ask this question, but General McMillan talked about suicide, and I'd be interested in knowing if there is evidence that suggests that the current tempo, the deployment, and readiness requirements of our Guard and Reserve has had a consequence in regard to Guard and Reserve suicide, and what the difference is between Guard and Reserve circumstances and the active military.
So I note the time, but I would just say I personally don't think the linkages between deployments. I think it goes back to what General McMillan said earlier. One of the things we're focused on in the Army Reserve is looking at, particularly at financial stressors on families driven by potential issues with employment relationships that over time increase the stress on the family and on the soldier, in our case. And I am concerned about that being an accelerant or a potential motivating factor in some sort of self-destructive behavior.